Good morning, everyone. It is Monday morning again. Start to another great week of knife discussions and just a great week, period. Hope everyone is doing good this morning and doing well. I myself am okay this morning. A little more tired than normal, but nothing I can't handle. Good morning, Mr. Pete and Mr. Mister. Hope you two gentlemen are doing great. I'm sure you can hear in the background that I'm flicking a knife. The knife I carried last night has probably perfect action for me. If I was going to hand a knife to someone and say, this is what I prefer knives to feel like, would probably be this knife right here. Perfect detent, perfect drop shut, perfect sound, perfect feel, perfect knife. No, it's not a perfect knife. There's no such thing. But this is what the knife in question is. It is the Ketuo Knives Envy version 2. Morning, John. Super cool blade shape on this one. Hollow grind. Got that compound ground end. Strength. The jimping is great, and this knife locks in your hand so well. But it has perfect opening, and the close is just perfect drop shut. Hydraulic drop shut. Yeah, perfect. So I had that in my pocket last night, in the front pocket. And then guess what knife I had in the back pocket? I had my good old Vespa. Morning, Michael. Mr. John said he was surprised at how much I've carried the Vespa. And there's nobody more surprised than me. Because until this knife, I basically discounted OTFs as just being for self-defense and stabbing stuff. I never considered them a usable knife until this one. And now the convenience and the fact that it just does not move at all turned it into a real knife to me. And it's weird. I would be the last person to tell you that I would be carrying an OTF as a regular user knife. Still trips me out daily. But it's that good. I meant to ask John how that Chavez was, and if it made it to the... If it went straight to the bin like the last few knives have, or if it made the cut. I forgot to ask him that. So, Mr. John, did it make the cut, or are you getting rid of it? And if it made the cut, why did it make the cut? And if you're getting rid of it, why are you getting rid of it? So you got some answering to do. We are also going to talk about sheaths today, specifically the sheath for this. I found a few sheaths here. I only have a limited amount of leather sheaths. On looks itself, huh? So you just like it for how it looks. Okay. That's cool. We all have knives we like to look at. Um, this is one cheap style sheath that I believe I could make. And if I'm gonna make one, it's either gonna be like this. And this one is probably a little bigger. It's longer, but it's not as wide. But the sheath for this knife would only need to be, you know, about up to here, maybe about, well, you could cover, I don't know how much of the handle actually sticks out of this one. Let's see. So when it's fully seated, the back screw and it's about all that sticks out. So if we were using this one as a gauge, I would need it to be about this long. And I also notice that most all of them put a separate piece of leather strip down the middle here on this seam. Wow, this sheath still had the protective tip for this knife in it. Down in the bottom of it, I guess. Weird. I didn't even know that was down in there. I don't even know if it's for this knife. So this is one style that we could look at, and I kind of like the ones that have this back part here, to keep you from hitting the knife or, you know, wiggling it. And then the second one I wanted to look at, oh, the balance on mine is right at the, right at that screw. It's actually right. It's right about here, Pete. I wish it was more up here, but it's right about here. And that's because of how thick the handle is. And I could have taken some out, but yeah, the balance is right about the front screw, about right there. But this is another sheath style with the clasp. And this one is actually closer to the size that I need. In fact, that one would work for this knife. It actually fits in there pretty good. This does not lock it in though, because of the size. It can pull out past that. So it would need to be a little less wide so that this would be tighter. But that is a pretty cool sheath, and it's just got the built-in belt loop. And they've attached this other strap to the underneath the belt loop there. So that's an idea. So this is the Civivi Cloud Peak that I've talked about numerous times, being a great, comfortable, big, nice fixed blade. I've got large hands, and you can see how big this knife is. Quite big, and it's got a full flat grind all the way across it, which I love. Good morning, Waylon. I actually bought the black version first, and then I bought this one, and then I returned the black one because I like the wooden ones better. But yeah, this is a second kind of sheath option that I ran across. You can tell this one, yeah. All right, and then the last one that I think is the kind that I want to actually go with is on the Joker. And so it is a full double stitched, it's the same size thick leather, but it has this ring that lets it move so that when you bend over, the knife always stays vertical, and it gets out of your way. So I prefer these kind of belt loops and knives than the ones that are attached like the Cloud Peak. So I think this might be the style that I go for. Of course, it'll be a lot shorter because this knife is quite a bit bigger. That is that Nessmuck that we were talking about yesterday. But this one as well has that middle piece of leather to widen it up on this side, and then it's just wrapped around. It's got, of course, you have to put this rivet in before you put these two in. And that's all going to be learning. And then this does actually unsnap, which I also like, because you can take it off without having to take off your belt or undo your belt. So I might consider that. If I could replicate a sheath like this one, I would be happy. So I ought to try to do that. And it would only need to be about this long, and that's what the knife would look like in it. So yeah, we might go look at some stuff today about how, you know, how to do some of this stuff, but I might do that on my personal time as well. Not sure yet. Depends on what else comes up today, I guess. Speaking of what's coming up today, any of y'all got anything exciting going on in your knife world that you would like to discuss? Or any knives you're really jazzed about? Put that one out of the way. I had a link to a knife that I was unaware of. And that is the HEA Designs Chief. So they make a titanium version. Looks like this. I like the looks of it. I was not familiar with it. Yeah, there's quite a few pre-orders that are going to have to come up pretty soon, huh, Pete? Got the Eldorado, we got my Kunwu, we got the Strix. I've got a couple of Kickstarter ones. I like the looks of this knife, and it looks a lot like a Ferrum Forge, but it doesn't, in a giant, you know, a little bit like a giant mouse, but it doesn't have the forward finger choil. And I kind of like that, although I do love those forward finger choils. I'm kind of getting burnt out on it a little. There's one of these for sale. That's what made me, for $125 right now on Chinese Knives. So that's what made me look it up. Yeah, I've not seen that one. Christopher, good morning, sir. Yes, I plan on getting some stuff for the 11/11 to sell. All of Europe has stopped knife sales. For the 11/11 sale, which I found interesting. And that would suck. Thank you for responding to me, Pete. I figured that was the case. I just, you know, you never know. I mean, you could have gone in asking a question or something, and people could have deducted, you know, other stuff, but I didn't figure that was the case. Morning, Wicked Dream Designs. How are you this morning, sir? Let's see. Yeah, some of the topics this morning. All knives offline for 11/11 in Europe. They're all empty. Oh, are you talking about on that, Mister? Are you talking about on that last knife I just showed? Yeah, it does look super thin to me. Almost dangerously thin. But I do like the shape of the cutout, which is a different kind of shape than I've seen. But I agree, it does need to be thicker. Let's see here. Yeah, no knives for Europe. Kubi Sumo. Let's see if there was anything else I found interesting down through here. Kind of struggling to put together an 11/11 purchase list. What's on yours? Somebody else asking the same question. Chris, oh yeah, I know what I wanted to show you. OK Knives has a sale going on for some clearance knives, and they have two Spyderco sections up here, but they have the Shamans on sale for $17.60. All those different models, like the one I've got, so you can get one of those for $17, which seems like a great deal. Everybody should try one. And then they have the carbon fiber ones for $20. That's pretty wild. The Chief is overall, I don't know, but we can do some maths. 2.85 and 3.85. So that would be 6.7. Yeah, it's short. Not even, right around 7 inches probably. It doesn't really tell a total length. It says 3.85 inch handle and 2.85 inch blade. Morning, Gonzo. You got something in New York? Oh, the link that you sent? Sorry, I didn't see the... You got this coming in? Oh, nice. Is that the one with the Marfione? Yes. I believe that's exactly like the one I've got. It's a great knife, Chris. Yep, good old titanium dock. Can't go wrong with that. Are you talking about the Chief, Pete? Good morning, William. Michael? Padre coming back from getting a hollow grind. Mini Slim in the purple haze. Stonewash Slim. Yeah, the Chief. This one? I think that's the same one, Pete. The Chief. Oh, you can't beat it for $55, Christopher. That's a heck of a deal. Um, BGM hologram on a Padre. Yeah, I want to see that. Yeah, there's one for sale right now on Reddit. And he's asking 125. I bet it's the same guy that bought that one that you saw. He had it for sale down here somewhere. Let's see. uh Oh, this guy did some work to the Vostede Croc. The Croc is one I've been wanting to check out. Let me find that post, though. I can't wait till mine shows up like this. Can't wait to check that out. That's on the way. It's actually left Chicago now. Yeah, this guy right here. He has 2 Sicarays for sale. He's got that Chief. And he's got a Rosie clone. That reminds me, I posted a link on the Discord that all of y'all should have hopped on. And I don't think any of you did. But White Mountain Knives had the Sicaray lights on sale with MagnaCut, and if you use a certain code, it took off 20% instead of 10%, and it brought it down to $100. So you could get a Sicaray light in micarta for $100, and I think everybody should own one of those. Great $100 MagnaCut knife. Super comfortable. I love my Sicaray. So I'm sure yeah, so I posted the link back on the 5th, 5 days ago. And they had both versions, I believe. They had a green version too, I believe, or something. Let's see. Sicaray light. Maybe it was only the black one, but I grabbed one. Oh yeah, they had the no flipper and the flipper version. So this one already comes with the no flipper. So to get it for $100, it's pretty awesome. With MagnaCut, I mean that's a great deal for $100. And they're super comfortable knives. Mine is a but they are super comfortable. They really have superb action too. Just a couple of little shakes. But I'm curious to see how it stacks up against the non-light version. Let's see, what else? What else? Oh yeah, I'm sending this off to Pete today. The Azusa smallmouth. Get ready for the largemouth soon. It will be coming soon. Let's see. Let's go back. See what's going on around. Yeah, I forgot to show that on stream. Yeah, there's that. Wow, it looks like it's got good action. There's that one I was just talking about. I bought 2 random clones, that one and the new Shiro. and they're on the way. Can't wait to get both of those. I really like the way that a new Shiro looks. But that one looks pretty nice too. I can't lie. It looks like a good size. My rain is finally out for delivery today. Can't wait to see how that reverse flicks. Um, the other one that I bought, the 11/11 sale, is the AliExpress sale. That's like their Christmas and New Year's sale. But the other one I got is that, let's see, blah, 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 my orders. It's this one right here. Um, this is the other one I got, which is the 2025 Collabo Knife of the Year for Blade Magazine. So that one ought to be cool as well. The the one I just showed, John, is a clone of the. Dang it! You would have to ask. I knew what it was just a second ago. One of those stupid things. It is a. Well, down here somewhere, somebody's got the name. I looked it up. I showed it on stream, and now I can't remember. Arizona Custom Knives. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see it there. Whoops. It is the. Maybe somebody will say it in here. Yeah, Mosier. David Mosier. It's the well, it's not the Crossfire. It's not the Creep. Have y'all said in the chat? Oh no, waiting on me to figure it out, huh? It is not the Crossfire. Dang it, why can't I remember the name? What is the name of that knife? It's the wow. I swear it's not the Crossfire, but it uh Backlash, no. Wow. We had a whole page that had the fuller and the non-fuller version. Alright, I know how to find it. Reddit, Chinese knives, Mosier. Newest. Well, Maybe somebody spelled it wrong with one S. Yes. This is it, I think. I don't remember the name of it, John. Where is it, though? Yeah, I don't see the name of it. Dang it, that makes me mad, too. Because I had the name of it. There were only 20 of the ones with the full fuller made. What is the name of it? Maybe it was on his. I think it was on here, maybe. Maybe it. Yeah, I don't know what it's called, John. I had it. I had it in my head, and it's now escaped me. All right, what else? Are y'all getting? Let's see. Oh yeah, there was a Berg. John, did you see I messaged you about the Berg Blades tick for sale? There's a price drop on the tick this morning. If anybody wants a tick, it popped up this morning. Price drop. Guess I can just type in tick. Duh. Yeah, here we go. So he dropped it from 300 to 285. I don't even see that post yet. Yeah, he dropped it from 300 to 285. I bet he would take 260 for it. There it is right there. Dark stonewash titanium. Might not be the model you want either. I don't think you like stonewash. This guy had some bangers though. That's another one I've almost bought a few times. The Ferrum Forge Alarus. And he's got the October for a great price. The Titanium October. That's that one with the milling that a lot of people like whenever I show it. Yeah, I figured the tick was the wrong version. So the way you get one on AliExpress is you go right here to this link. And I will paste this in the chat for you real quick. You go right here, and I was able to. There's the link to the Mosier, and here's the link to the Shiro. And if you get them both, you can use a code. And I think get them for like 140 total. There's the links for both of them, though. You can get it with the so they have one with the full fuller, and then they have one with the partial fuller. And I don't know why you would get the partial fuller one. They have they don't show the picture of the big fuller one. They have it, the blade separate. Can't show it assembled. That's one way to get around it. I don't trust their dimensions at all, but hey Google, what's 215 millimeters in inches?
215 millimeters is 8.465 inches.
Yeah, 8.4 inches. Well, it's a big boy. It's supposed to have VG10 steel also. It says it on there, but I'm guessing it probably does. Yeah, I like the way it looks though, and I really like that Shiro. I don't know. It's got a cool look to it. This one right here, I just think, I mean, it wouldn't have won Blade Magazine's Collabo of the Year if it wasn't a nice knife. And the size on it is, let's see, specifications, 217 millimeters, so it's even larger. They're both right at. No, it's not functional for reverse flick. It's literally just a fuller for a blood groove. All right, let's head over to YouTube. See if there's an easy sheath making video. Make your own sheath. I better put knife sheath. All right.
Hey, what's going on? Today I'm going to be making a leather sheath for this Damascus 4-inch field knife. That knife is 1084 and 15N20, and it's 363.
Oh yeah, I need to get one of those little things you do the edges with. They're little. All right, so there's
any of the tools or materials I use.
Yeah, that little
You can
thing.
find links to most of those things on my website, dailymoonforge.com, under the product links tab.
All right, and there's the little hole poker thing.
If you measure out 10 times the length of area you need to sew, that works out just about perfectly for the amount of thread you need for a saddle stitch.
All right, so I'm going to subscribe to this guy. I'm going to go to his website. I'm going to look at his product page. Which he doesn't have it. Wait. There's a sharpener in the sharpener things. Product links. Here we go. Where are the sheath making stuff? Ah, here we go. There's eyelets, forging, sanding, finishing, knife handle materials, leatherwork. There's the little pokey thing I need. Now add that to cart. Actually, let me hop over here to my reel. Let me add it to my reel cart. Y'all can't see that, but there's only 2 left in stock, so grab that one, and then let's see. I don't necessarily need that, but I will need some cement. Aha, there's the little edge beveler. That's what they're called. There's a little leather edge beveler. Let me add that to cart. And these are going to take too long, so I'll probably have to find a replacement of the same kind, but at least I'll know what to look for. All right, got that added. And then stamp. Already got the twine. I got the needles. Guess this cement stuff. Wow, that's expensive. Leather, rubber, and vinyl. Idea for patching rubber boots, resole leather shoes. Let's see if they have anything smaller than a quart. So I don't necessarily need that. Yes. They have a $9 bottle, which is right up my alley. And that is the original also. They both said original on it. Let me add that to cart so I won't forget that. Alright, so we got the beveling tool. The chisel. I've got waxed nylon thread in lots of colors, and I've got all the curved and long big needles. TC, good morning. John, see you later, buddy. So that's cool. This guy had some knife stuff. Let's go back and yeah, I think I'd like his channel. He looks like he likes teaching stuff.
Today I'm going to be making a leather sheath for this Damascus.
Why is that still playing?
Knife. That knife is...
Let's see what this guy does. See if he does anything different. I like the idea of doing that too. Seems like that's the way to cut leather, huh? With the pizza cutter. I know it's not a pizza cutter, but... you can just poke holes in it with a Dremel. There you go. I like the thought of hammering and putting the holes in like you're supposed to. Wow, that leather cutter really works. That's pretty nice. Another way to go about it. Quick knife sheath tutorial.
I'm going to show you guys as quickly as possible how to make a knife sheath. This is just going to be kind of the basic stuff. If you got any questions, let me know. But get your knife, mark it out on a piece of construction paper. Whenever you do this, make sure that if you've got a knife that protrudes right here, you have enough room whenever you draw it out of the sheath that's not going to hit on anything. You don't want to close your blade in and make it too tight right there. So get the back and the front and then mark. So on the front, I want this side to be smooth. So that's this side. That's the smooth side of the leather, and it's not, you know, the nasty looking rough side. So get that, cut your leather out, using those as a template, boom, boom, and then cut out a welt. And you can use kind of either one of these to figure out your welt.
Oh, so that's called a welt,
and then
a little spacer piece.
Go around the edges of your knife. I will clean that up a little bit to make it kind of fit snugger, but you want to have that to keep from cutting your stitching. That's essential. You really need to have a welt if you're going to make a sheath. So get that, and then get one of these. So this is a nice thing to have. Also not essential, but it's really good. It makes this little line like this for your stitching. So that way when you can punch your holes in there, and it'll kind of bury your threads down and protect them and keep them from rubbing on stuff. You want to get some of these, I forget what these are called. They're just little punches, little hole punches, I guess. But it's just a real aggressive looking fork. And it's nice to have, for sure, a double prong. The single prong's really nice to have if you're working with thick leather. And these other ones are nice to have if you are working on long runs. Like, for example, right there. You do that, and then you line it up with the last hole that you punched on right there. And then do it again, line it up with the last hole, and make those long runs. But you can do it with the two prong. And then whenever you get down here, your little finer work, you can do most of this with the 2-prong, but it's nice to have the 1-prong. And then you make all your punches. So once you get those all punched out, take some blue tape, line it up all the way around the outside. I didn't do that for the video, but line it all the way up right there. And then you put your welt on, line it up perfect. I'm also not gonna do that for the video, but line it up perfect. And then just kind of barely punch. So that way whenever so say you punch right here, just sort of barely, it'll line up with the welt, and then you can go back and punch your welt out. And then you line your welt up the same way you did with that blue tape and lay it right here like that, and make your punches just light.
Yeah, you can transfer it over to the other backside. I like the ones that wrap around.
You can barely even see it, but then just punch.
It only needs a welt on one side
to do the big runs. And then just sew it together. Look up a saddle stitch. It'll work for you.
Saddle stitch. Yeah, I don't want to do the 2-piece. I want to wrap it, fold it over. Here's a full detailed tutorial. We won't go over this one.
Alrighty guys, today we're going to be doing a detailed step-by-step
But I will save this
on how to make a leather pouch sheath
to watch later.
Custom knives. I'm going to be drawing on
Stamping and tooling.
leather sheaths, but it did a decent job, and the more time that you spend in this part,
Let's see.
use quick
Saddle soap.
of the knife. Doing some basket weaving in the middle. I'm getting
He's doing a cool little pattern.
New leather maul, and it is actually doing a darn good job. So that's worth noting. To start off the basket weave process, I scribe a very light line down the center of the sheath diagonally, which will be our target. And I wanted to point out that I'm using this Japan Select basket weave stamp, and it is way better than the Tandy stamp that I was using. It has a very deep impression, and with the flat sides, it's nice and easy to line up to that center line. Also,
That's pretty cool.
The finished product from kind of an angled view there, so you can see how deep the stamp was.
Basket weaving.
I think it
Looks
nice
pretty
and
awesome.
smooth, and I got that from Jason at Diomedes Industries. I like how he does that. Using some super cheap pricking irons, I just gently mark out where my hole spacing will be, and then I put a needle into my drill press and push through the holes in the locations that were marked by the pricking iron.
That's pretty cool
I
too.
like how the drill press with a needle just pushes through the hole and it doesn't really remove any materials. So the next step will be stitching our belt loop. I actually got this needle knotting method from Jeremy at Simple Little Life. He was the first channel that I saw anyone do this with. And basically you thread the thread through the eye of the needle and then puncture that thread with the needle and pull that punctured thread down and over the eye of the needle. This creates a little slip knot there that holds the thread onto each needle. You'll do this on
that's
both
pretty
sides
cool.
of your thread. When it comes to how much thread to use for your saddle stitch, a good rule of thumb is to cut around 9 to 10 times the distance that you will be saddle stitching. I've been using some John James.
The other guy said 10 times too, so
into the stitching groove. This may be contacted to each other. We'll put the welt down on one side of the sheath.
there's that same cement up there in the picture.
Onto the top of that welt.
So that's the right cement to use.
Try and get a little bit tacky, and then do our best to.
Yeah, that's what I want to do, is fold it over like this.
Welt. In this case, I cut the welt to have a little bit of extra space on the outside to be ground and cut away. In a perfect world, I think it would be easier to meet up all three of these pieces together if you had your welt perfectly cut out to its final dimensions. Once I have everything glued together, I use my head knife to cut out the excess material on the outside.
I might need to get one of those knives.
I will use my belt grinder with a fresh 220 grit belt to flatten and level all three of these surfaces. Whatever grit you use, make sure that the belt that you are using radius on the outside of your sheet.
Alright, so then he takes...
Process. In this case, I am using a number 4 edge beveler. I like the number 4 in this case because it gives a little bit more of a radius on the outside of your sheath, and that is another tip that I picked up from Mr. Dave Ferret. The next step will be to lay down our stitching groove, and to do this I'll be using a groover from Tandy. I'll mention here that I'm putting links to all of these leather crafting tools in the description below that were used in this project.
Oh, nice.
To help out anyone who's getting into the leather making game. I will also mention in full disclosure that these are affiliate links and the channel will get a kickback if they are used. So if you want to help out the channel, go ahead and use those links for your leather crafting tool.
That's
purchases.
super cool.
After we have our stitch groove grooved into the outside of the sheath, we will be using these cheap pricking irons to knock in some holes, which we will be using as targets for our drill press. So I would actually not recommend getting those cheap pricking irons. If you're going to get pricking irons, it may make sense to get some high quality ones. But I guess these cheap ones do a good job for at least laying out my whole space.
I like that needle technique.
So back to
I've got a drill press, so why not use it?
All needle or a fairly thick needle to puncture our holes. It's not quite as thick as a finishing nail.
Morning, Cliff.
In the past, and I found that that was a little too wide of a hole for the thread that I was using. You want to have a semi-tight fit with the thread in these holes. You also saw me going back there with the stitch groover to groove the back of the sheath. While I don't think this is necessary, I like the idea of this.
Yeah, I like that the thread will sit flush when you put that groove in there.
Decent job for me. Hallmarks for a custom sheath: the time, attention, and then finally
Edge finishing.
This is
I'm glad I
where
saved this video. And he's got all the links, I guess. So, alright. Leather skiver. Don't know what that's for. It says for making folds and seams. Here's the number 4 edge beveler. That might have been the same one I added to cart, but if not, I'm going to add that now. The other one was $17 and it was a size 2. Alright, so we got that. Let's see. Basket stamp, stitch groover. There we go. There's the stitch groover. Morning, Waylon. So the stitch groover is something you really do need, and looks like I could use that for other things as well. I'm glad he did that. Dremel Power Burnishers. I just want to check this out. Leather burnisher, leather slicker tool. Huh. I have not seen those. They are currently unavailable. I don't think those come in your normal Dremel pack of tips, but maybe they do. Spring divider, stitching pony. And he didn't use any. How did he stitch the belt loop on? Did we see that part?
600 grit finish in one direction. We will dye our edges with the sweet applicator. Pro tip.
I skipped that section.
Next, we'll put some barge contact cement on where we plan on putting down our.
So he just stitched that in. You don't have to use.
And mark where our stitch line will be. I like using.
Okay, that's what that circle was.
In this location, I think it looks nice and smooth, and I got that.
But that gives me an idea of how big I need to make the piece of leather.
How he does that. Using some super.
And what shape I need to make it.
Gently mark out where my.
All right, so yeah, we saw that, but I didn't see the part right before that. But that gives me a kind of a good shape to look at when cutting my leather. So that looks cool. I really like all that basket weaving stuff. Did he have yeah, here's the Japan Select. So there's the little thing he made the basket weave stamp with. Yeah, that's pretty awesome too. think I might add this to cart just to have it there. I'm not necessarily going to buy it. I don't need all this stuff just yet, but I leave a lot of stuff in my Amazon cart that I want to keep up with and maybe get down the road. So that thing's cool. What else did he have here? The harness needles. Yeah, I've got plenty of the needles. They came with the kit I got. Plenty of that wire, the wax thread. Y'all do me a favor and smash that like button. Please, sirs. Alright, I guess that's about it for the tools. Oh, what did he call that thing at the beginning here when he was cutting the leather? What's that leather cutter thing called?
From the mouth of the sheath. Once we have our template made, we will be cutting out rough blocks from our hide. This is 7 to 8 ounce leather from Wicked and Craig, and it is pre-dyed to brown. I normally make these rough cuts with a box cutter and then get these large blocks of leather over to my workbench so that I can transpose the sheath template onto the leather with an awl. So I just put a bunch of little dots through my template onto the flesh side of the sheath, and this allows me to see my template on the sheath. Using the punch, I punch out the radiuses. This worked pretty good. It's a fairly low quality punch, so I think a higher quality punch may have done a better job, but it did allow me to get some decent radiuses there. I then used my custom head knife
It's called a head knife. Did not know that either. Learning all kinds of leather stuff today. So, leather round head knife. You can get, just like any other knife, you can get nice ones, or I myself am not going to get a super nice one. But working with leather is something I could see myself doing in the future. Making a wallet, or you can make all kinds of stuff out of leather. So I think that's a good investment. I probably won't get the cheapest one possible, which is this one. But not going to get a real expensive one either. Actually, this one is even cheaper. Yeah, mister, I saw that graph paper. It looks like I can adapt it to my use, because he drew around the knife. I don't know if you saw that, but right there you can see he's got the actual blade. See, he laid the knife down there so he could trace right around the blade, and then he added a little outside around it. So I could actually do that exact thing that he did there. I won't be able to use the exact dimensions, but I can add the same space around my knife that he added around his. Good call, mister. I saw that though a second ago. I was thinking about that. But yeah, I just lay mine down, trace it, and then put however wide, half-inch gap all the way around, and you double it over in the middle so that when you flip it over, and the same thing on the other side. Yeah, all that makes good sense. Oh yeah, that's a good idea, mister. So yeah, I think leather working materials and tools is something that I think would be a good little investment. I think I would enjoy working with leather too. It's kind of like the male version of sewing. There's guys that get into sewing too, I guess, but here's the contact cement. What are wood daubers? Oh, to stain. They're stain daubers. Wow, you get 100 pack of those. I just put a couple of those up yesterday that I got with my leather dye. I know exactly where they are, but I've only got 2 of them. You can get 100 for $10. That's pretty cool. Let's see. And that contact cement was the same. Yep, barge. Saddle soap. Quick slick. Alright, so when you use the burnishing thing for the Dremel, you use this saddle soap to smooth it out. It's pretty cool. It's leather machining. Good morning, Sever7. Sever just hopped in and posted a link. Well, good morning to you too, sir. How are you this morning, Mr. Sever? Why do we need an extendable handle? Pretty wild. It's leather machining. It's leather works. And not the kind the Gimp likes. Leather works. It's leather working. It's stitching and not sewing. Christopher made me want to grab my Doc clone out now. Let me put up this to you. But I'll tell you what, man, this knife, super comfortable. And the action is just perfect. Exactly what I want in a knife. Just hydraulic drop. It would pass Sever's 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock test. All right, let's see what we got here. Put this back where it goes. I forgot I also had the Tuya chicane, which has got that crazy hook. That I don't necessarily like. But I did end up bead blasting both of these. I got them both at a good deal. And the only 2 Tuyas I've actually bead blasted myself. This one's a little funky for me. But it has awesome action too. Alright. What else we talking about this morning? Case put up. We learned some leather working skills today. That's always a plus. I don't feel successful if I don't learn at least one thing new every day. Oh, let's see. Oh, that's awesome, Cliff. You ought to join the Discord and post some pictures of those for us. Here's my Doc, Christopher. I've had mine a while. Mister, I don't know what you're talking about. We've always got haters. Haters make the world go round. No need to even give them the time of day, my opinion. Is there a new group of haters that I missed out on? Not that I care, but this thing has great action, though. And it's super comfortable. Think you're going to like yours, Christopher. But yeah, everything, the little thing I was talking about at the end of the stream yesterday, everything worked out fine. Not sure what the actual issue was. Yeah, I saw that link, Sever. I don't know who needs an extendable knife. Looks weird. Oh, you're in the Discord, Cliff? Okay, well, yeah, show us some pictures of those sheaths you made. I'd like to see some of your axes, too. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I don't know. It could have been partially my fault. Like, maybe I'm supposed to re-sign up every now and then. But whatever it was, it worked itself out like it was supposed to. Did I shorten the knife handle? Oh, you shortened the knife handle. Yeah, I saw that. Now, I'll show it, everybody. Weird. I just think it looks weird when it's closed. And I definitely don't need a shorter handle. And the ratios look off. Looks like too much blade, too little handle. That's interesting, though. Oh, Wicked Dream Designs? Yeah, man. I am so impressed with this thing. Like, I've literally carried it like every day since I got it. It's one day I didn't carry it and I missed it the whole time. Yeah, I was mad I didn't carry it. So yeah, that's a good pickup. WDD. There's something else I thought I sent a link about. Oh, I did send a link to those yeah, I ordered a second one with the drop point. I'm not normally a fan of DLC either. Well, you didn't say you weren't a fan of it, but you said you couldn't decide. But I thought it looked good with this knife. That's why I got it. I kind of wanted to test out the DLC and see how it would do. But yeah, I put a link in the Discord for those $30 titanium folding knives with the frame lock and the lock bar insert. Oh, that reminds me. I posted my first knife hack video last night, which is a video showing a little trick I learned on how to remove stubborn lock bar inserts. So let me show y'all that real quick.
Hey guys.
All right, so little trick I learned.
Hey guys, here's a little trick I picked up a while back that I wanted to show y'all. If you've got a lock bar insert that is stuck in there too tight,
Why is the volume so... All right, here we go. Sorry. Let me start this over so y'all can actually hear it.
Hey guys, here's a little trick I picked up a while back that I wanted to show y'all. If you've got a lock bar insert that is stuck in there too tight, and no matter what you do, you can't get it to give you a little edge under there to maybe pry a little screwdriver under or something. If you can't get it to lift at all, you can take the screw that normally screws in from this side and thread it into the back side of the lock bar insert. And then you can lay a towel across it and use a pair of vice grips. I don't have vice grips with me here at work, so I'm going to try to use a regular pair of pliers. But you can use that regular pair of pliers to get purchase, and actually the vice grips work way better, but you can use, come on, there you go. So as long as you work it back and forth, you can pry it and you won't damage your screw by using the towel, and you can get super stuck lock bar inserts out by using the screw that normally holds them in. So hopefully that will help somebody who's having issues with that. If you've worked on knives long enough, you will find some that feel like they've been pressed in, and this was definitely one of them. But anyway, hope that helps. See you on the next one.
So yeah, I'm going to start making little videos. Yeah, well, if I would have had vice grips, I wouldn't have slipped once, mister. But normally with vice grips, you can get it locked on the head of the screw between the two little grooves in the pliers, and it won't damage it. You can get it just on there, just tight enough with a towel. So normally at home when I've got vice grips handy, they don't slip off like that. I was having to use my Leatherman, which is not the greatest pair of pliers, period. But yes, I agree. I don't like when it slipped off. It made me cringe. But that wasn't the point of the video. I was trying to show people how to screw that in from the other side to be able to get leverage on it. Mister, what you hadn't seen is I had shot the video 4 times before that, and I was having trouble with those pliers, and that's where that hole came from. It's because I'd already done it. I'd already been grabbing on it like 15 times, and I had to reshoot the video to where I finally got it out. But yeah, vice grips and those rags work fine. All right, guys. I'm curious about that thing Wicked Dream Designs says. It pries and lifts from behind the screw. Oh, okay. So you can just lock. Yeah, you could use like a hammer, just a pry bar. Something with a little, but I know what you're talking about now. Something like a little, like the back of a hammer. Huh. I'm curious what that tool is now. You said Home Depot? Home Depot screw pry tool. Flat pry bar. Is it kind of like a pry bar with a V in it? I mean, something kind of like that, maybe. They might make a little one. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about or not. He said a flywheel puller. Yeah, I know what those are, Waylon. Uh, yeah, I know. I definitely know what those are to get bearings and stuff off with the triangle. Flying tools, electronics, Home Depot. Electronics department, please. Hardware electronics. All right. This is not what I'm looking for. I don't think I clicked the hardware electronics one. Maybe I did. Yeah, I did. I'll have to go physically to a Home Depot and go check it out. I don't know where electronics tools are. Klein or Milwaukee, maybe. All right, yeah, I'll check that out. Waylon's talking about the little things that you use to like for pulley, like the bearing pullers and stuff. Dang it. Why do I keep thinking of Northern Tools, but I'm trying to think of Harbor Freight? Pullers. Come on, internet. Pulley tools, gear pullers, dent pullers, and tie rod pullers, sill puller. Why is this page not loading up? What's up with my internet? I've got a bunch of precision screwdriver kits. I've got one right beside me here. What are we looking for, mister? They have a tool in there that does it? Have I just not looked at one of the little tools they got? Why is Harbor Freight not loading up? There we go. Here's the little 3-jaw puller things I think Waylon was talking about. But you could use that littlest one of those too, but I think that's a little overkill when the vice grips works fine. And they make the little hammer, like the slide hammers too. That would probably work. But yeah, the little puller things, not sure. There's a tie rod and pit arm puller, sill puller, dent puller. Yeah, they make these little small ones. I don't know how small that is. Weird. I wonder if Home Depot pullers. Yeah, here we go. Gear pullers. There's the dent repair. I've got one of those little kits with the suction cups. Pullers. Never thought we'd be looking up pullers on the channel this morning. U-joint puller. only 4 pages of stuff, so we ain't got too many more to look through. These are all way too big, but like I said, you just use a good pair of, like those little vice grips that I got. That's the ones I usually use. The ones I told you are a great tool to have around with your knives. A little small pair of vice grips, very handy. Robin, we're not I just showed a little tip on how to get lock bar inserts out. And we were just looking at stuff. I had to get the lock bar out, and I did fix the action on that Elementum. So that was the whole reason why I hated that Elementum, that Elementum I told you I was selling. So this is the knife I did it on. But you just take that screw out from this side, and you screw it into the other side on the lock bar insert, and it'll give you something to grab hold of to pull the lock bar insert out. But this one had terrible action, and I guess last time I went to mess with it, I couldn't get the lock bar insert out because I was like at work or something. And last night I finally decided to fix it. So now this knife has way better action, and I don't hate it as much as I did. It's still not drop shut, but it's way better than it was. And it locks up plenty. These are the knives I shot videos of the last few nights that I just had randomly laying in this bag. By the way, Mr. Keep It Scale Stupid, your Revel like this should be out for delivery today that you bought. Oh yeah, and William, if you're still around, there's that green on the arcade. We were talking about high voltage green. And I did the ano on these high voltage green. The arcade is a cool little knife. It's got good lockup. It's pretty comfortable too. And I've still got that quote relative clone that's not a relative clone. It's actually a Nimble XL clone. The relatives have a different shape down here around by the pivot and where the flipper tab lives. It's just got a direct slant. So this is not a relative clone. It is literally a Nimble XL clone. It's just a Nimble upscaled. Nimbles have this same shape. The relative has a little different shape. But I do still have that one if somebody's interested. All these are for sale. Yeah, like even this Joker Auto Kalishnikov and the little Sabenza. I mean the little Chris Ray in Singo. Yeah, a couple of QSPs, Corvid M, a couple of Factor clones, a Rook. A couple American Ultimatum clone, Cortex clone. And then over here is just another set of random knives that I don't know what to do with. Some that I bought not long ago. I think Pete showed a link to one of this brand. This is that Ioki or something. Iono. Good morning, Tegan. Ioko. But this one's a hollow grind too, and actually this one might be convex. I don't know. It's a weird grind. But there's a couple of these inexpensive knives on Amazon. Going to be getting some concepts today. That's awesome. And then these are those two little $29 titanium knives from HX Outdoors. The liner lock one and the button lock one. Another HX Outdoors. These aren't for sale. I love this little Sativian. That's a cool knife too. Yeah, what concepts did you get, Tegan? And there's that weird knife I put a clip on. Y'all remember in one of the videos we drilled and tapped holes because this knife doesn't come with a clip, but now it has one. And the clip has stayed on where we tapped those holes. People say titanium doesn't tap very well, but it seemed to tap decently well. But that was a knife that I would never carry and turned it into a knife that I will. Oh yeah, I like the Main Street. I've been wanting to get one. I've got a Fenrir. I like the Model 6 too. This is that other Levivsky knife, original that he sold. It's supposed to have the ting like, it's got the internal little tuning fork thing. Another cool little knife. Osmosis. Guilty by osmosis. That's what some of these people are. Yeah, I've still got some watches held up in customs. I don't know if they're going to make it through. I might be getting the $5,000 fine. I'm not worried about that, but. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's a good way to barter. Yeah, I like the barter system. The barter system works well for everyone. Wanted to look through this. I still can't find that Shiro, which is pretty wild. Not like me to misplace a knife. So it's got to be in a case labeled as something else in the wrong case. Well, all right, guys. Unless y'all come up with some more stuff you want to talk about. We learned a lot about leatherworking today, or I did. At least the tools. Getting hands-on and actually doing it is another thing. I've got my piece of leather right here that I'm going to be using. I did figure out that heat and steam is how you get wrinkles out. So I'm going to use some heat and steam to get these wrinkles out before I work on it. But I'm pretty positive. Well, now that I look at it, I think I might have to make the belt loop a separate piece if I want to try to make two out of this one piece. Because I'm pretty sure I can take half of this and use that much leather to make this sheath. I think I ought to be able to do that. I didn't have that knife when I went to the beach. I don't think. Because I did the modding here after I got back. Where I rounded out the, I took down the lock bar so that you could actually reverse flick it. It's around here somewhere. I just haven't gone through every single case. I mean, that's such a pain in the butt to have to physically touch every single knife when you've got as many as I have. And it's probably in like you know, I've got a bag that's labeled Microtech and Spyderco that should only have those knives in there. And it's probably a case like that where I was doing something on video and I accidentally put it in the wrong case. And so I just opened my Microtech and Spyderco bag and it is not in there, so I can rule that one off. But yeah, it's got to be something like that, or like I put it in the other side of the Miguron case or something, where I'm only using one side of a case. I don't know where it is, but I guess I need to go through and physically touch everything just to make sure that I find it. And I'm wondering if it's like in my Kaiser box here. Let me go through and touch all of these real quick. These are all my Migurons. The back. Alright, Ackery. Bastides, Nightshade. There's the Vane and the Miro. And we got some QSPs. Here's a QSP that I don't show very often that I really do like. That's a super cool QSP. Then I got all my Bastides and my 3 my Ontario Rats. Then we get into all the Kaisers. And it should only be Kaisers in this bag besides all that stuff. I still love this Kaiser too that I got not long ago, the Pioneer. But this one is super nice and comfortable. That forward choil always helps. This one has great action too. I like the clip on it. I like lots of things about this one. Let me put these two up while I'm in the Kaiser case. Let me at least eliminate this Kaiser case. Because that would be silly if it was stuck in here with all these. But stranger things have happened. Speaking of stranger things, is there a new season? Have they just like kept going with that show? I think season 3 was the last one I watched. Is there really like 5 seasons of that show now? Alright, there's my VK1FL. Veritas. There's that October that I was just talking about somebody had for sale for like $70. And those are awesome knives. That milling pattern's pretty cool. While I was in there, I thought I'd show that. Alright, still going through all my Kaisers. Hold on. Bear with me. That knife should be easy to spot because of the blade window that I had to sand down or file down to make it where you could actually reverse flick it. So when I pull the knife up, I should see that blade window and that little nested liner lock. Alright, well it's not in the Kaiser box. So that's a 99 case that has been eliminated. I'm going to check my Kubi and Damn Designs case real quick, just to eliminate it too. But it's kind of making me mad now that I can't find that knife. It's about to the point where I'm going to find it. See if it's mixed in with some Kubis or something. But when you're touching 50 knives in a for 90 knives in a case, it's kind of annoying to pull them out and put them back, pull them out, put them back, pull them out, put them back. But I've got some random knives in this case too. So I'm hoping that maybe it got thrown in the back of one of these cases or something. I just don't know where else I could have put it. Okay, artisan, artisan. There's a cool artisan too, that accelerator. That's a big beefy knife. And that's that 73 volt purple that I did. This one's got skiffs in it too. Makes a great noise. Alright. Artisan, artisan, artisan. Artisan, 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 artisan. Ham design. Alright, so it's not in that box either. So those two have been eliminated. Those are big hard cases that my two-son one is the really only other one, and I think it's full. It is completely full of two-sons and 4 6-leaves now. Five 6-leaves. But I guess I should go through and touch all these real quick. If y'all are getting bored, I totally understand it. Oh, and I did do a knife in green not long ago. It was that knife. William asked me if I did a high voltage green not long ago, and I forgot that I did that too, son. Sever 7, I don't have any left, buddy. I've used them all, and they're not as cheap as they used to be. In fact, now they're pretty much the same price as skiffs. But yeah, that one Pete asked me to do. I totally forgot. That I did that Painter and Designs one. That one turned out good though. I really like the color of that. I just found that. I was touching all of my two-sons. I don't see it being in my two-son box, but what in the world? Well, I just found this in the two-son box. It was so short, it was down in there. So my new Drop Bear 2 was in there, so who knows? Might be something else lost in here. Although I don't see it. Almost done going through this box. Oh well. I've only got 2 more hard cases to go through and a bunch more little smaller cases. So, yeah. Two-son case is eliminated now, too. Oh, well. I give up for now. But I did just find another Kaiser that I've been wondering where it was. Didn't know it was missing, though. New little Warncliffe. Drop Bear 2. It was in a soft case, Waylon. Well, thank you, sir. Let me, I just went through the duck one. Let me go through a couple of these real quick then while y'all are just hanging out. There's Petrified Fish. That's the one we looked at the other day. Not in that one. For sale. I believe this is the one that I just took to work with me. Yep, it's not in there. That's the one I showed with the wheeze and the tipper and all that yesterday, so it's not in that soft case. Process of elimination, it's either gonna, I think I put it back in one of those hard plastic cases and it's gotten mixed in with my whole little set of hard plastic cases. I put it with hard plastic cases that are empty, but I think I left the knife in one of them. I'm gonna have to go through a bag, a trash bag, that has those hard plastic little cases in it, because I believe that's what it came in. Actually, it came in a green thorn pouch, I guess. So it could be the same thing with the green thorn pouch. I put it back in a green thorn pouch and then put that pouch with other pouches thinking it was empty. So that's why that's when it'll be harder to find, when I did something stupid like that. I'm almost done going through all my soft cases though, so give me just one more second. Man, that's crazy. I'm just expecting it to pop up just any second now, like, oh, there it is. But I just keep going through case after case after case. Nothing. So here's a Y-Start soft case. It's in here for some reason. Nope, not in here either. Although there's another high voltage green I did on the Demco. I did just run across that one. Alright, only got a couple left here. I know where else it might be, in some of those little small bags that I took to work with me. I think I've got a couple of those scattered places too, that where they don't belong. Alright, here's my integral case. It's not with the integrals, but I've got to check everything. Here we go. Here's a Civivi Syncut, Boker, SRM, and Buck bag. And it is not in there. Alright, only a couple more cases left. I've got my Yangi Rye Designs case. All 6 of those are in there. Nothing else. Yeah, I thought it might be in one of these little bags like this. But the Yangi Rye Design ones. And here's my copper ones. It's not in there. And I've got one called Benchmade Clone Keepers. Little bag like that. Not in there. Prima Ratio. Not in there with my ZTs and Extrema Ratio, however they say it. Not in there. Man, I really have just about gone through all my cases now. This is my OTF case, which you better not be in my OTF case. My autos are on the other side. Better not be in my autos case. Yep, not in there either. Oh well. I gave it a... That means there's only the clone box, hard case, and something else. Yeah, the magnet behind me has got some knives, but it is not one of those. Here's the knives that's on the magnet on the wall behind me. I've got a Gerber or something or other. I've got that Shanzhou Peafowl. I've got a Flissa with half serrated blade. I've got that 9-tie EDC switchable blade knife. I've got my Devo Chaser. I've got my little peasant knife and my big peasant knife and my Opinel. That's all that's behind me. So that's on the magnet. Magnet is empty now behind me. Put all these back. Ratio. Extrema Ratio. I don't think it's ratio. They are Italian, I do believe. I swear it's got to be in like a green thorn pouch that's mixed in with just empty pouches. I tried though. Well, all right, guys. Now I really am done. I got to put this in the Kaiser box. Hope y'all have a great start to your whaling. It might be for sale. If you like this one, it might be for sale. I like it, but it's a little too small for me. So yeah, if you really like it, let me know and we'll talk about it. Want to talk about it? We'll talk about it. Man, these crossbar locks. Kaiser's clutch lock, really nice. Let's see if it does the same thing I was talking about. Yep. Locks up without having to push the crossbar a little bit forward and seat it properly. Huh. Well, all right, guys. Like I said, hope y'all have a great start to your week. It is cold here, man. Last night was super cold. I was ready. It makes me smoke less whenever it's cold, so that's a good thing. I'm forever the optimist. I'm always trying to find the good in stuff, and even though I hated the cold, it was good for me because I don't smoke as many cigarettes. Sever7, see you, buddy. Sorry I don't have any of those AliExpress skiffs for you. It snowed in West Virginia. Yeah, it felt like almost cold enough to snow here. I think it wasn't. It had to be in the 30s. Let me see what the temperature was last. Oh, it's 20. It was 27 this morning when I. It's actually 28 right now. Wow. It's only going to get to a high of 37 today. What in the heck? Me no like that. But anyway, guys, gals, peoples, hope y'all have a great Monday. Thanks for being here with me. 3 more episodes until the episode 300 giveaway. Y'all make sure to be here that day. It might be quite exciting. Remember, knives are life. No, clones are life. Nope, knives are life. Clones are life. Anyway, guys, appreciate y'all.